Let's explore the ultimate impermanence meditation you haven't tried. This morning's lesson is drawn from the meditation manual I'm currently writing, Easy Enlightenment. The first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path is right view. That is terribly vague, isn't it? What does it mean? The meaning is taught to us, or at least inferred to us, in the Buddha's Anapanasati Sutta, or should I say the breathing with mindfulness discourse attributed to the Buddha, in which he reveals that the key to right view is simply impermanence. Now, you've heard me mention, if this is not your first time looking at this goofy thing, then you've heard me mention many times that active contemplation does more harm than good. Good morning, James. And that as does active concentration, but that passive mindfulness and passive meditation is not only safer, but it's so much more effective. So how can mindfulness and meditation help us to viscerally understand impermanence? With every inhalation, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, we're able to perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. And when we do this, we cannot help but notice that things are changing moment to moment. The sights we see are changing. The sounds we hear are changing. The sensations we feel are changing. The scents we smell are changing. The flavors we taste are changing, and the like. We notice our emotions are always in flux, as are our intentions and thoughts and memories and imaginings. Passively notice, just by inhaling, we are wired to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. And so instead of fighting that change through the contrivance of concentration, surrendering to it, especially as we are wired to relax during every exhalation, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system. This is key to helping us let go. You might say, I thought we're wired to let go during each relaxing exhalation. We are. But our mind can either cooperate with that or it can oppose that. Quite often it opposes it. The beautiful thing about bringing the intellectual mind in harmony with the autonomic nervous system is that instead of the mind in our head and the mind in our spine fighting each other, they can cooperate with each other. Well, that sounds lovely, but how do we do that? Simple. When you're trying, if you're an uncle or an aunt or a mom or a dad or a big brother or a big sister, you know that sometimes the little ones, with their great love and enthusiasm, just get underfoot. But they want to help. So give them something to do. Hold the flashlight still. Hand me that wrench. Something like that. Well, the contemplative equivalent of that is, hey, brain, during the next inhalation, please silently and mentally recite, notice this. And oh yeah, by the way, brain, during the next exhalation, please silently and mentally recite relaxing. Now, we're already wired to notice automatically as we breathe in. We're already wired to relax automatically as we breathe out. But by giving the brain something to do, it begins to actively cooperate with the autonomic nervous system. And that's fabulous. When the Buddha taught the 7 enlightenment factors, there was nothing there but active contemplation. When Vajra taught the first Dzogchen Shastra, there was nothing there but active contemplation. Both of these great spiritual teachers taught a passive path by noticing vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly in harmony with our sympathetic nervous system during each inhalation. And by physically relaxing and mentally releasing in harmony with our parasympathetic nervous system during each exhalation. The right view of the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path tends to itself. I do look forward to chanting and meditating with you after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent more than 8 hours a day, every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. What am I looking for? I guess I'm looking for button 9. Known in Sanskrit as Avalokiteshvara and in Tibetan as Chenrei Zig. Those of us on the path of rigidity and superstition will view kind gaze as that to be worshipped and supplicated. However, if we have the good fortune to traverse the path of being flexible and laid back, we will simply view kind gaze as an archetype whose iconography reminds us that we are already wired to master, no less practice, awareness and letting go, as well as love and letting go, not to mention bliss and letting go. Just like cooking pancakes, we're going to flip and flop between mantra meditation and silent meditation. So let's begin by reviewing the mantra's meaning. Please chant with me. Om I invoke the wish of ending money, jewel of love, and the purifying pygmy lotus of letting go, supplicating with whom may love and letting go be mastered by all. Where is my cursor? Here we go. This morning's first practice of bliss and letting go comes to us. It was known in Tibet as Lama Khyeno, which translates into English as calling the teacher as from afar. Like on Saturday mornings when you used to watch the commercials where the kid would shout, "Hey, Kool-Aid." This bronze figure reminds us of our own enlightened potential. This couple sporting in tantric union literally reminds us of sensations, figuratively reminds us of the teachings. So what is the key to transform absolutely mindless mantra recitation into spiritually productive mantra meditation? It's twofold. During the inhalation, we can silently, mentally, and passively recite this italicized line. During our exhalation, we can physically relax as best we can while chanting this 6-syllable mantra 8 times per breath. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani me me yung, money 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 me me yung. Om mani me me yung, mani me me yung, om mani me me yung, mani me me yung, om mani me me yung, mani me me yung, om mani me me yung, mani me me yung. Om mani me me yung, mani me me yung, om mani me me yung, mani me me yung, om mani me me yung, mani me me yung, om mani me me yung, mani me me yung. So, having chanted the mantra 32 times, we're going to play with our first silent meditation. Now, this begs the question, how many silent meditations are we going to play for? Let me do some quick counting. There's going to be 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So if my back of the envelope calculation is correct, this practice text contains 20 silent meditations. We're not going to get through all of them in one session. But the first 4 are like steps that we climb to get us from the clunky to the subtle. But the clunky is a good starting place. Kind of like starter's blocks that a sprinter uses in a race. So for the next 16 rounds, let us silently and during our inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. During our exhalation, let's silently and mentally recite, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. These are not affirmations, for they do not deal with belief and wishful thinking. These are observations of what's actually going on in the present moment, according to neuroscience. Now, I mentioned 16 rounds. A round is, in this system, a round is one inhalation followed by one exhalation. Now, I count to 16 much faster than you will, just because I'm doing all this yammering. So what the time it takes me to do 16 rounds, you might only practice 12 or maybe just 8. That's fine. That's totally fine. I like to keep track of rounds on my left hand. I like to advance my left thumb. I got that song. I like to move it. I like to advance my left thumb during the inhalations. I feel that works best. Let's meditate. Normally, I don't lift my hand. Normally, I just rest my hands on my lap. I count rounds on my left hand. I count sets on my right hand. It's kind of like when you learned how to work out and you learned about sets and reps. It's just like that, only with a trifle less grunting. Good morning and welcome to this live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, just type your question in great detail in the chat window. The moment it occurs to you, please don't wait till the end. If I have a boo-boo face, that's because it feels like my sinuses are breakdancing with cleats on. So I assure you, I'm not bitter-faced because of the practice, but because I have unhappy sinuses. Where I live, it is as if I'm in the center of a great arboreal bukkake. Let us begin with our outer set of preliminary practices. When we exercise the vulnerability to give a flying fuck about others' stress, it cultivates greater empathy in our central nervous system. As we breathe in, let us silently, mentally, and passively recite this italicized bit. During our exhalation, let's physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 6-syllable mantra 8 times per breath. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Please give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Never fear, if you persist with this mantra at 5 minutes every 12 hours or so, within a week or two, you'll feel very comfortable with it. Rather than viewing impermanence as something to frighten us, we can view impermanence as that which helps our love to lighten others' loads. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Simply put, this 6-syllable mantra could translate as a wish for all beings everywhere to master the path of love and letting go. Once again, we do not have to be frightened. Well, this is like Blue Oyster Cult in the 70s saying, don't fear the Reaper. We don't have to use impermanence as something to frighten us. We can use impermanence as something to remind us that just as the Borg assured us that resistance is futile, the Buddha explained to us that is grasping, that is folly. Think of it this way. As I mentioned during the opening lesson, with the changing of the seasons, we see the impermanence of a year. With the waxing and the waning of the moon, we see the impermanence of the month. With the rising and the setting of the sun, we see the impermanence of a day. With the swelling and the sinking of our chest, we feel the impermanence of a breath. Ever changing one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Once we feel comfortable with the 6-syllable mantra, Here's a trick you might enjoy. While chanting the mantra, simply rest your gaze upon the one word in the italicized bit that is capitalized. It will serve as the synopsis of the line. Rather than shooting all over ourselves to neurotically make the most of each and every precious opportunity to meditate, far more efficient it could be to simply flow in the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity that is generated by our practice of mindfulness meditation. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. So we've come to our second exercise, and I promised you we're no longer working with a 12-syllable exercise, but its 3-syllable counterpart. It's first of 2 3-syllable counterparts. During our inhalation, let's silently and mentally recite sitting tall. This reminding our body to generate a vertical traction between our tush and our head. During our exhalation, let's silently and mentally recite the 3-syllable verb relaxing. We turn now to our inner set of preliminary practices inspired by the final meditation manual of the great Tibetan yogi Dzogchen Rinpoche, lauded by the Dalai Lama. Let us empathetically yearn to free all beings from the toxic tyranny of continually hating and craving and clinging. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Despite the intensity of our empathy for others, if we wish to help them, it is important that we rely upon the example and the teachings and the students of the Buddha, be he real or archetypical. This is known figuratively as the 3 wish-fulfilling jewels. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Few things are as efficient at squandering our time, energy, and relationships as defensiveness. Let's rebel against defensiveness and instead enthusiastically learn from all our numerous mistakes. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Death is an inevitability. We are wired to be scared of it. It keeps us alive. But that fear can be a burden. Ask NASA. They'll tell you the key to managing fear is rehearsal. And we rehearse our fear of death by imagining that at the time of death, we have both the conditioning and the opportunity to coalesce our real or imagined subtle energy into our mind drop in our central channel at our heart, and for it to shoot like an arrow released from a bow up our central channel, out our crown, into the heart of the teaching of the teacher, which is metaphorically the mastery of awareness and letting go. And from our wisdom of the vast expanse, we could look down upon our cadaver and abandoned body and possessions, and in a final act of empathy, wish them to be used well by all others in the most wonderful way. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. By the by, the Buddha insisted that the most efficient way to take an auspicious rebirth, if that's a thing, is to train one's heart in empathy. During our next 16 inhalations or so, let's silently and mentally recite "Notice this." And during the next 16 exhalations, let's persist in the silent and mental recitation of the 3-syllable verb relaxing. We come now to our third exercise of bliss and letting go, described in Sanskrit as Guru Yoga and in Tibetan as Lama Naljor. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung, mani mimi yung, mani mimi yung, mani mimi yung, mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 mani mimi yung. Like washing wool in hot water and then throwing it in the dryer, let us shrink our exercise from 3 syllables down to 1. Having chanted the 6-syllable mantra 32 times, during our inhalation, let us kick back and watch the antics of mind, as silently and mentally we recite the demonstrative pronoun this. Similarly, during our exhalation, let us relax into mind's non-graspable nature, as silently and mentally we recite the 1-syllable verb is. Having climbed to contemplative cruising altitude, together as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as Obi-Wan Kenobi upon the toasty sands of Tatooine under the guidance of the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn. Having completed our preliminary practices, let us stride boldly down the path of Tandara, bringing the experience of the 4 bases of mindfulness into the conventional path of love and letting go, where it is love that is emphasized and it is jealousy that is leapt over. Now, during the next 8 exercises, we are going to persist in silently and mentally and passively reciting the italicized bit. However, these next 8 italicized bits are highly figurative. Now, figurative language can be a pain in the ass, and not in the fun, tingly way. But we, all complex life forms on this planet have evolved to think symbolically. And symbolic language, this skillful use of simile and metaphor, can have a profound impact on our spiritual development. Now, our job during the next 4 exercises, including this one, is not to actively visualize or emote or believe or try to do magic. Our job is simple. Play with these words in harmony with our breathing, that doing so might exercise the neural pathways responsible for empathy. Let us lovingly wish that each mind of each being now master the enlightened wisdom of a real or imagined Buddha, symbolized by a one-syllable mantra, seed mantra, or bija. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As we rest our gaze upon the capitalized word in the italicized bit, while relaxing into the recitation of the mantra, do not be surprised if you begin to feel like a sprinkler or a lawn bird, emitting blessings in all directions. You don't have to visualize this, but it is a fringe benefit. You will begin to feel this after a while. Is it important? No. Is it fun? Yeah. May each being's experience of the interpersonal, metaphorically described as communication or speech, now be as loving as the communication of a real or imagined Buddha, symbolized by mantra. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As a species, like a snake shedding its dead skin, may we as a species transcend the vestigial tendencies of competition and cruelty. May each body of each being now enjoy the health depicted in Buddhist statuary of a yidam, or archetype of enlightenment. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. May each circumstance or lot of each being now be as fortunate and free from genocide and oppression and scarcity and lack as the paradise or pure land or vati of a Buddha, real or imagined. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. Let us bring letting go through the physiological lens, or through a physiological lens, as we bring the experience of the four bases of mindfulness into the ultimate path of love and letting go, where it is letting go that is emphasized, and where it is pride that is leapt over. As we breathe in, we can clearly and effortlessly notice minds, perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. And yet, as we relax into the recitation of the six-syllable mantra, these exact same minds can begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined bija mantra comprised only of light. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung 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 Om mani mimi yung. Oopsie, I got carried away. So embarrassing when that happens. As we breathe in, we can notice the relationships of ourselves and others and how very resounding they can be. And yet, as we relax into the recitation of the six-syllable mantra, these exact same relationships could begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra comprised only of light. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As we inhale, our forms can feel downright sensual. And yet, as we relax into the recitation of the six-syllable mantra, all forms of all beings could begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined archetype comprised only of light. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As we breathe in, all circumstances can seem readily apparent, and yet, as we relax into the recitation of the six-syllable mantra, each circumstance of each being can begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as the real, or as a real or imagined Buddha's paradise or pure land or vati comprised only of light. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. Since we touched upon impermanence during our opening lesson, I thought a fun elective to play with this morning would be viewing letting go through a philosophical lens as we bring the illusion of horizontal duality of us and them into the dance of impermanence and interdependence known as Madhyamaka's yoga of inconceivability. As we relax into the six-syllable mantra, all circumstances of all beings could feel as if they were as impermanent, as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could interdependently absorb into our form. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our recitation of the six-syllable mantra, what could it feel like if all bodies of all beings were now as impermanent, were now so impermanent that they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could interdependently absorb into our recitation of the mantra? Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Fare thee well, James. Have a beautiful day. Om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung. Oopsie, got carried away yet again. As we relax into the recitation of the six-syllable mantra, what could it feel like if each being's speech was so impermanent that it could blissfully melt into rainbow light that absorbed into our awareness of it? Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our recitation of the six-syllable mantra, what could it feel like? Each being's awareness was so impermanent that it blissfully melted into a rainbow light that now interdependently absorbed into a vast, empty void, not dissimilar to the non-graspability of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us bring the 5 perceptions into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever sights we might have noticed during our previous inhalation can begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, as we relax into the recitation of the mantra, whatever sound we might have noticed during our previous inhalation can begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into the recitation of the mantra, whatever scent we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into the recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever taste we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into the recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever sensation we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us bring the 5 mental poisons into the path of awareness and letting go. Please chant with me. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever hate we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as mirror like wisdom's clairvoyant. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever pride we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as the equalizing wisdom of primordial voidness. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever craving we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as discerning wisdom's bliss point. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever jealousy we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as all accomplishing wisdom's void intellect. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever confusion we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as all-pervasive wisdom's awareness void. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Having chanted the mantra 40 times during our inhalation, let's kick back and watch the play of mind. As silently and mentally we recite the demonstrative pronoun this. Similarly, during our exhalation, let us relax into mind's non-graspable nature. As silently and mentally we recite the one-syllable verb is. Let us bring the spontaneous play of mind into the path of awareness and letting go. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite relaxing into this. This is whatever we notice during our inhalation, whatever we notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, or randomly. It could refer to the external, the internal, the physical, the mental, the pleasurable, the painful, the interesting, the boring, the glorious, or the grotesque. Om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung, mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us seal this morning's practice with the love that wishes for universal enlightenment and well-being. May all minds of all beings lucid, yet void no be as wise as a Buddha's mind, symbolized by a one-syllable mission. May all speech of all beings resounding, yet void no be as loving as a Buddha's speech, symbolized by a multi-syllable mantra. May all forms of all beings sensual, yet void no be as healthy as a yet depicted in Buddha's statuary. May all hosts of, may all lots of all beings appearing, yet void no be as fortunate as a pure land of law depicted in Buddhist paintings. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 3/4 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.